Let's learn geometry. Geometry is a branch of mathematics which deals with the study of shapes. So for junior cert, you will have to learn certain theorems, certain properties of different shapes, etc. So let us go through that and let's try to understand. So before we start the proper study of geometry, we need to understand the base concept. So base concept is the if I draw something like this, and if I put a dot here, which means that this is stopping at this particular point, and if I write A and B, this is called line segment. Okay, and if I have if I have something like this, and if I'm putting an arrow like this, and if I name it A, B or any other alphabet, this is called line. So there's a major difference between line segment and line. Line will extend on both of its sides. Line segment um, will be confined to that particular point. Okay. Now there is one more what you have to learn. So if you have one point like this and then it extends to the other one, and if I call this A and B, so this is a stop at one point and it extends to the other line, it is called ray. Okay. So these are the three things which you have to learn: line segment, line and ray. Okay. Now um, if I have a line or a line segment, and if I have multiple points in the line, okay, these points are called collinear. So the points that line on the same line are called collinear. Okay. Now, if I have one line like this, if I have another line which is crossing that, it is called intersecting. Sorry, the spelling is wrong. Intersecting. So it is intersecting, and if I give a value for this point, it is called it is intersecting at P. Okay, and then I have two lines which go like this and which doesn't touch each other even if it goes to a further point. They are called parallel lines, and parallel lines are denoted by two arrows in your question. So whenever you get a question, you see there are two arrows which I have mentioned. Those are called parallel lines. And then the second one, which is called two lines which have a 90-degree angle between them, they are called perpendicular lines. Okay, these are some of the basic concepts what you need to learn. Now from this we are moving on to angles. So till now what we learned is line, so we are moving on to angles. So if I have one ray like this, one another line like this, I would call it as a line. Actually it is a ray, but I would call it as a line just for our easy. So and I write this A, B and C. Okay, these are the 3 points A, B and C. So this is an angle. Okay, and the measure of the angle can be measured using a protractor, you might be knowing it, and the angle can be named as angle ABC with a 3-letter word, or angle B, which is the middle one. Okay, that's how we name an angle. So this is an angle. Now there are different types of angle. The angle which is exactly 90-degree, this is called right angle. And always remember, the right angle will be denoted like with a square line like this. So if you notice here, this is like a curved line. That is how we denote the angle. But for 90-degree, we usually put a square line. Okay. And then the second one is uh, less than 90-degree. Okay. So this is something around maybe 60 or 70 or something. Whatever it is less than 90-degree. So less than 90-degree angles are called acute angles. Okay. Let me write it neatly. Acute angles. Greater than 90-degree are called obtuse angles. Okay. Angle between 180 and 360. They are called reflex angle. Okay. And any angle which is less than 180 are called ordinary angle. So ordinary angle we don't usually use, but it is good to know. Okay. So these are the 4 angles which you have to understand and remember. Okay. Now there's another one. Like if I have a straight line, this whole angle, this is nothing but 180-degree. Okay. And if I have one line, this angle, this is called the full rotation. This is nothing but 360-degree. Okay. So with this, there will be questions like, for example, if I have a line and this have another line like this, and this angle is 60 degree, what will be this angle? Suppose this angle is A. So angle A is equal to 180 minus 60 degree, because we know that the whole angle is 180 degree. So it is 180 minus 60 degree, that is equal to 120 degree. Okay. Same is with the 360 also. Like, see, they can give you questions like, um, you have like, okay, they can give you multiple angles like this. Okay, and this might be 20 degree, this is 30 degree, this is 50 degree, this is 70 degree, this is 90 degree, or not 90 degree, it will never be 90 degree. So it is like 80 degree and 110 degree, and you have to find this angle. So what you do, you add all these angles together and subtract it from 360 degree, because the total full angle rotation is 360 degree. Okay, now there's one more thing you need to learn about angles, are vertically opposite angles. Okay, so that happens when I have two lines which are intersecting. So we learned that word before. So two lines which are intersecting. If I have one angle here, okay, the angle which is directly opposite to this, which is this one, okay, these two are called vertically opposite angles. So this angle and this angle, these are called vertically opposite angles. Okay, and the rule is the vertically opposite angles are equal in measure. Vertically opposite angles are equal in measure. So there is these two pairs of vertically opposite angle, and then there's this one and this one. So whenever two lines intersect, there are two pairs of vertically opposite angles. So let's take an example for this. So suppose if I have two lines like this, this angle is 80 degree. Okay, automatically this angle will be 80 degree. Okay, now what will be the angle which I am marking in red? Okay, to find that, this total angle is 180 degree, because you have this line which I am drawing now, and that is 180 degree. So the other one will be sorry, I'm just rubbing it off. Yeah, so the other one, so the red one will be 180 minus 80, which is equal to 100 degree. Okay, now since this is 100 degree, this will automatically become 100 degree. Okay, let me show you one more example. So if I have two pairs of line, and this is 60 degree, this will automatically become 60 degree, and this one which I'm marking in this one will be 180 minus 60, that is equal to 120 degree, and automatically this will become 120 degree. So this is the concept of vertically opposite angles. Okay, now moving on to angles and parallel lines. For junior cert, this is a very important concept, because many geometry questions will be based upon this. So an understanding of this is very important. So please listen carefully. Okay. So now here, angles and parallel lines, when you have two parallel lines like this, okay, and it is cut by a line like this. Okay. So when it is cut like this, there are some angles in here which are equal, which are like, which have some other properties, etc. So let us try to understand this. So here, if this is cut by these lines, you have this angle and this angle. Okay, these are called corresponding angles. So the corresponding angles are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. So not only these two lines, there are different types of corresponding angles. So this one and this one is a corresponding angle. Okay, this one is a corresponding angle. Okay, and this one is a corresponding angle. So there are four pairs of corresponding angles when two lines are cut by an extra line, two parallel lines. Okay, remember these are two parallel lines. Two parallel lines are cut by a line. Okay, now the second one is, you have two parallel lines again. So it is, I just put an arrow like this, and then you have another line which is cut. This angle and this angle, these are called alternate angles. So it alternates on both sides of the line, so that you can remember like that. Alternate angles are equal. That's also a property which you have to work. So to understand alternate angle, you can look for a Z shape, like see here. You can look for a Z shape. Okay, I forgot to mention about corresponding angle. For corresponding angle, you can look for a F shape. Okay, so you have an F and those two angles are within that. Alternate angles, you can look for a Z shape. And also this angle and this angle are also alternate angles. Okay, now the third type is you have two parallel lines again, and then there's a line which is going through. What you have is this angle and this angle. Okay, these are called interior angles. Okay, you can remember it like, okay, this sorry, it can be like this. Okay, so there is some kind of box and these two angles are within the box. Okay, so interior angles add up to 180 degree. This is a property. So whenever you have two interior angles, it will add up to 180 degree. Okay, so there are three types of angles: corresponding angles, alternate angles, and interior angles. Okay, now let's do some problems on this. Suppose if you have two lines, parallel lines. Okay, I'm writing it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, now your task is to write down which are the corresponding angles, then alternate angles, and interior angles. Okay, so pause this video and try to write it and then come back and watch this video. Okay, now here for the corresponding angles, what you have is you have C. Okay, let's start with A. So for the corresponding angles, what you have is A and E, okay, D and G, B and F, C and H, okay, and the alternate angles are D and F, E and C, and the interior angles are D and E, C and F. Okay, so hope you understood this. Now let's do some problems with respect to the interior angle. So suppose if you have this and if you have the value of 30 degree here, okay, you need to write all the other angles. So for this one, let us focus only on this part now. Okay, the only on this part. So if you see that there are two lines which are intersecting each other. Okay, and we have vertically opposite angle which comes into picture here. So if this is 30 degree, what will be this angle? That angle will automatically be 30 degree. Okay, what will be this angle? That is nothing but 180 minus 30 degree, that is equal to 150 degree. Okay, so since that is 150 degree, this will also become 150 degree. Okay, now here this 150 and this angle, those are interior angles. Okay, and interior angles add up to 180 degree. So what will be this angle? That angle will be 30 degree. Okay, because it adds up to 180 degree. Now since that is 30 degree, this will also be 30 degree, and here it is 150 degree, here it will be also 150 degree. Okay, so that's how we tend to build up on the this one. So there's an easy method what you can do here. So here if this is the two parallel lines, it is cut by a transversal and this is 30 degree, there is no other go. You have to find out the value here 150 because it is 180 minus 30 degree. And this is vertically opposite angle, you know it is 30 30 and this is 150 degree. So we got this information. Now since you have two parallel lines, what you can do is you just copy the same thing onto here. You can blindly copy the information. Okay, so it will be correct. So what you can do is you can just come here and write 30 degree, 30 degree, 150 degree, 150 degree, you are getting the value. Okay, now here is one tip for the exam. So in your exam they would have given you at maybe one or two angles. They would not ask you to find all the other angles. But what is a big deal? What you do whenever you get a question, you fill in these things. Okay, you fill in all the angles, copy the same thing onto the second one, and then you write the angles which is required. Okay, so this becomes easier rather than thinking on what is alternate, what is corresponding, and what is interior. Let's not do that. If you have two parallel lines and cut by a line, you just write this angles, the whole of the angles, and then you fill it up, and then you will get the values. Okay. Now in junior cert, it will not stop with this. There will be algebra part of that. So suppose if you have this and they say that, okay, this is 4n plus 60 and this is 120 and find n. Okay. They can give you questions like this. This is where it becomes a little tricky, but it's easy. So here you need to have an understanding. So this angle and this angle, what are those? They are corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are equal. So I will write 4n plus 60 is equal to 120. 4n is equal to 120 minus 60. So 4n is equal to 60 and n is equal to 15. Okay. So whenever they get an algebraic question, you need to work out on these values. Okay. Now again another one which you had have something like this. So this is 3n plus 38 and this is 5n minus 10. Okay. Now this since this is 3n plus 38, this is also 3n plus 38. The reason, vertically opposite angles. And now this and this are interior angles and they add up to 180 degree. So I can write it like 3n plus 38 plus 5n minus 10 is equal to 180 degree. Okay, and then you simplify. So 3n plus 5n or 3n plus 5n. Okay, I'm just adding it here. 3n plus 5n is equal to 8n plus 28 is equal to 180. 8n is equal to 180 minus 28, or 8n is equal to, let me calculate, I don't want to do it in my mind and make mistakes. So 28, that is equal to 152, and n is equal to 152 over 8, which is equal to 19. Okay. So once we understand the concept, you will be able to do any kind of questions with respect to the angles and quadrilaterals, etc. Okay. Thank you.